Hey everybody, Mark Johnson here, founder and creative director of Able Ape Studios, back again with another episode of It's Go Time, episode number 25. In today's episode, I share with you how I get my ideas, or where I get my ideas. That's kind of been a question that people have asked me all throughout my life, whether it's be for a piece of artwork that I've created, or a photography theme, or like a photo shoot theme, or even stories that I've written. And I'd like to share that with you today. So first off, ideas come from wherever. I don't necessarily have one specific avenue where my ideas come from. They just kind of come from wherever, which is a kind of like a weird answer, because I guess it could be more specific. And so trying to be more specific, well, inspiration, anything that inspires me, I can use that to help me create ideas. A lot of times, it really depends on the medium I'm working in. Like if it's like a photo shoot, or if it's a drawing, or if it's something I'm writing, or even like a screenplay. They all come from different inspirations. I have my inspirations, which are usually other artists, doing, either, like favorite photographer, Helmut Newton, favorite writer, Elmore Leonard, or you can even go as far as saying, or favorite film director, Tarantino, Scorsese, Spike Lee, Paul Thomas Anderson. I have a lot of a lot of inspiration in those areas. Or even down to TV shows. Sometimes I can find it in books, like reading, or like if it's a Helmut Newton book, shows a lot of his artwork that I probably wouldn't be able to see because it's now in exhibitions, but you can see it in the book. So great photographer, Helmut Newton, fashion photographer, style photographer. But ideas just kind of come to me, just from being in the process, being in the creative space, kind of thinking about what I want to be able to create, what I wanted to be able to express. Sometimes ideas can come from emotion, the way I'm feeling, especially if it's a writing piece, especially if it's a writing piece, the inspirational ideas come from the way I'm feeling, and I want to be able to express that through the work. So like I said, ideas can come from anywhere. Maybe I'm watching a movie and it inspires me to think of, what would happen if the characters did this. A lot of times, especially if I'm watching a show on TV and I just jump into it, like I just turn to it and I'm like, okay, what if the movie started there? So that kind of gives me an idea of how to create from there. But ideas can kind of come from anything. I think the greatest place and the time I can get ideas is when I'm by myself and it's quiet. For everyone's different. Maybe they like the loud, or the loud versus the quiet. Some people like being in nature. I get inspiration from that. I think a lot of times if I have questions about where do I go from here, I usually go to the park and just kind of spend some time in there. And then by the time I'm out of there, I'll be inspired to do something. So I just try to keep in mind to be open-minded, wherever I'm at for ideas. I don't try to, force anything too much. A lot of times if I'm lacking ideas, I'll go to these things to find inspiration. A lot of times I can find inspiration just looking out my window, seeing, people interacting. Maybe it's even sometimes it's kind of overhearing people talking, what they talk about, because I don't know the whole conversation. I kind of get a little snippet, and that might inspire some ideas as well. But I hope this video helped give you an idea or a direction, kind of find ideas for yourself or for your own projects. Like I said, the idea of finding ideas is kind of like a wide open thing. It's kind of different for everyone else. But I think another way that you might want to be able to just write things down as you go. I think a lot of times you can find good ideas from that too. So if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing with the channel, definitely subscribe. I definitely want to keep making more videos for my YouTube channel. And if you want to share with me your way of finding ideas, definitely leave that in the comment box below. I'd love to be able to start a conversation with you on how we find ideas, and how we find inspiration and what inspires you. So definitely leave that in the comment box below, because I love to start a conversation. And like we always do at this time, have a blessed day. See you on the flip side. Let's go.